Okay.
The news came out a few days ago about Deshaun Watson's suspension. Previous, he was suspended for 6 games. Then it was an uproar because there was news about why that was, and we discussed it.
Right.
Now the news came, the update came that now it got extended to 11 games. So, take it away. How you feel about that?
With the Deshaun Watson thing, there's a part of me that's just like, because we all thought he was going to get a year. I'm going to reiterate that. We all thought he was going to get a year, right? And, I mean, he didn't get a year. Let's just call it what it is. Goodell wasn't happy with the 6-game suspension. So he went and took it back to court. They went and took it back to court, and they got 11 games. I think it's done. Let it go. Let it go. Let's just move on from it. Do I think he should have got 11 games? I'm fine with 11 games. I'm shocked I was shocked he got 6 games, but I was okay with it because the judge made a decision and she made it clear, this is your fault. I'm giving him 6 games because you didn't make it clear in your CBA what the punishment was. And I can only really give him 6 games. So it is what it is. Goodell didn't like it. He didn't like the public outcry. So he decided, I'm just going to do what I do. I'm going to shove my power. We're going to go back to court. We're going to do this situation. And he did it, and they got 11 games out of it. Now, what we'll say about this is it's over. I think that Deshaun Watson, he's going to have to – this is going to follow him for the rest of his life. There's nothing he can do. And I can only imagine the things that they're going to be saying in those stadiums. I can only imagine.
Oh,
Some of the
come on,
things,
man.
You know
like,
what I'm saying?
yo,
like,
we I don't want to bring this kid's name up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying. Let me. Because if I say this, I'm gonna say the sports team. I'm not gonna tell you what era, but I'm gonna let you figure it out for all you sports diehard fans. So, I had a very good friend on Penn State basketball team. Not gonna say what year. This comment has nothing to do with him. But there was a player on Penn State that got caught in the library looking at porn and halfway jerking off, allegedly. Every game that dude went to that season, they was
on him,
laptops up and all types of crazy.
Really?
And again, not referring to my friend, not him. I just want to be clear, not him.
Right.
But there was a player on that team that got caught in the library, and oh boy, they had fun with him that season. That's going to be nothing compared to what Deshaun Watson is going to have to face when the suspension is over and he finally plays football. And for me, like I said, I have a problem because we got the same name and it's even spelled the damn same way. But I'll say this. We touched on this briefly last time. And let me even go further with here. For you young men getting in position of power, making the type of money you're going to make, whether it's in the music industry, and I'm going to make a comment and then come back because I don't want to seem like I'm bouncing. Y'all need to understand what it is that y'all are getting into. Understand the position you're placing yourself in. Now, the comment I'm going to make is not dealing with football, but it's dealing with a record executive that's been making a buffoon out of himself recently over the last week over social media. Sorry, Irv Gotti, like you're damn near ruining your legacy. You're making yourself look like a certified weirdo, bringing up Ashanti 20 years later. Everybody can do math. When you're bringing up all these stories about what you were doing with her in the studio, she was 20 years old. You were about 29, 30. But there was a power dynamic of you being a record label executive and her trying to get into the music industry. So the optics look crazy. The optics look like you were basically preying on her. Not saying that's what you were doing, but preying on her to get her in the industry because look how bitter you look 20 years later. You're not letting go of her masters. You're doing all this, keeping her, and then you're blowing it up 20 some odd years later, looking crazy. Going to Deshaun Watson. There's a power dynamic with you being a millionaire football player. There is a power dynamic with you being a millionaire football player. There is a power dynamic with you being a millionaire football player. A lot of y'all need therapy. I don't think y'all understand. You're placing yourselves, and I'll just say allegedly, loosely, so I don't get sued. You're allegedly placing yourselves in bad situations and then not understanding what you're doing. Because the allegations that we all heard, this is not rumored now, it's not speculation, everybody's heard it, sound like I couldn't imagine making that kind of money and hiring a therapist, what was it?
Massage therapist, yeah.
It wasn't just hiring, it was how many he was hiring per month.
Yeah.
Crazy. I'm not gonna go into my whole tangent on that, but to the young,
it was bad. But
to the young men getting into any form of entertainment, I'll just take it off the table. To men in general, understand that there's a power dynamic, and when you're crossing that line, it's gonna end bad every time for you, and there's no defending it. I can't defend it. I'm not gonna defend it. Go ahead.
Okay. I just, to piggyback off of it, I just think that, he needs to, because they keep saying he should apologize. I think he did right before the other second one was coming, the second suspension. You got to move on, man. Like, you just got to, he has to just say, this is the thing he needs to say. I apologize for just this whole thing happening. I apologize for this situation. Whatever part or role that I played in it, whether it was something that it seemed like my behavior, whatever part it played in it, I just apologize. Bottom line, you know what I mean? He's not even he's just like, yo, I'm innocent. I want to prove my innocence. Let me say the one thing I did have an issue with, and I saw RG3, and the nerve of him out of anybody talking. He was like, yeah, I think the NFL failed, and I think that they dropped the ball on this, and they could have went, and I don't know why Deshaun Watson didn't stand up if he feels like he's innocent. Number one, he couldn't. He's in a civil case. I can tell you right now, any lawyer is going to tell you, just settle and get it over with and get it out of here. Because the longer you let that linger, the longer you're not going to be playing. So I just think on a side note, when people are starting to look at the civil cases and they're like, yo, he settled, because I think he just wanted to get it. You just wanted to go away. Do you know how many cases, me and you both know behind closed doors, and I'll never say nobody's names, they've settled civil cases. They just don't want to deal with it. They just go away because they know if it comes out, whether they're innocent or not, it's gonna bring them down. They're gonna lose endorsements. They're gonna lose money. They're gonna lose deals. They just don't want to deal with it. So they just cut the check and just go away. You get what I'm saying? I think that was the case in some of these civil cases. I'm not saying that he's innocent. What I'm saying is that he did what he had to do to settle it and get on the field. It's just what it is. He needs help. We all thought he was going to get a year. He didn't. Okay. We got it. I didn't see the same backlash when Ben Roethlisberger did it, and I didn't see the same backlash. Well, let's just keep it real. We didn't have – the thing is, and I keep saying this, it's the eye. When Ray Rice, nobody felt the way they felt until they saw that tape. When it was 2 games, nobody blinked an eye. The minute they saw that tape, it was over. He wasn't going to play for season. We all knew it.
It's also, as you were just about to allude to, as a Steelers fan, I said this last time when we discussed this, when Ben Roethlisberger caught those quote-unquote alleged assault cases, and there were multiple. It wasn't just one. It was multiple. What's this, 2008?
Yeah. Yeah, something like that, yeah.
2000.
Because it wasn't too long after he won that Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. The point I'm making is, yes, there was social media around, but we all know around that time social media was just getting going.
Yeah.
This ain't the 2017-18 social media.
Right.
So going back to your point with Ray Rice, we saw that same thing with Deshaun Watson is playing out in front of our face.
Right.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think that, it's for right now, and the Browns, who I think they, for whatever you want to think of them, they got behind them. I give it to them. They got behind them. They went out in that press conference, Haslam and his wife, and they both got behind him. Now, whether you like what they said or not, the one thing I do take away from this whole situation, is that they gave him that guaranteed money, and I think the owners, whether they want to admit it or not, they're more upset about that than him coming back on the field.
Damn.
Let me say that.
Say that again.
The owners, whether they want to admit it or not, are more upset that he got that guaranteed money than him being on the field. Meaning, in other words, they know when their franchise quarterback, whoever they are, the Giants won't have to worry about this.
Shots fired.
Facts. You know the going rate is $230 million, maybe $250 million.
Before we get off this topic, since you just brought that up, and I don't want to sidetrack from Deshaun Watson.
No, go ahead.
But since you just brought that up, you know the rumblings are starting about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, he wanted all his money guaranteed.
But you know that number is already north of 240, right?
Yep, and he wanted it all guaranteed, and I don't blame him.
Keep going.
I don't blame him. So I think that's what they're all upset about. It's not about the representation. Come on, man. Let's be honest, the other owners. You know what other owners are mad? I don't care how this comes out across. The other owners were mad, and let's just be honest. And somebody else blew this up. I forgot which commentator, but he had made a point. He said the Panthers were after him, the Falcons were after him, the Saints were after him. Oh, there was somebody else after him because a lot of people knew that down south market. The Dolphins were looking too, whether they want to admit it or not. They weren't willing to give him the money, the guaranteed money that the Browns were. That's what that was about. Let's stop acting like you looked into the case and you were upset and you thought we can't bring that guy in here. I mean, you know, come on. I'm not buying it. Because I saw something. I'm not gonna get into all the different cases. They know what happens before we even catch wind of it. So a lot of these players that's involved in certain situations, you're kind of not shocked when you hear it. They just thought they could get Watson on a cheaper deal because of all that done happened. And they weren't going to will him. They might have paid $130 million. They wasn't going to give him no $230 million. And they probably were on some, we'll make 80 of it guaranteed. That's what that was. It wasn't no 230 guarantee. Because I keep hearing rumblings, oh, well, you gave that guy. Well, what guy are you supposed to put in there? What guy are you supposed to put in there? You know, regardless of what you want to think about him off the field, what guy are you going to put in there to do $230 million? They just don't want to pay the money, and the Haslams did it, and they doing it. I hope it pays off. I think it will, though. I think it will.
Well, good luck to the Cleveland Browns. Mm-hmm. I don't got too much to say about Deshaun Watson, man.
Yeah, you know, and
I can't defend it.
As much as the comments we're making, I'm not defending him. I'm more defending the situation. Like, you know, let's just, you know, I'm defending, like, in other words, when players get in trouble, let's go through the process. Let's not just jump to conclusions, not just suspend everybody and do it. And let the process play out. You get what I'm saying? I defend that part of it. But, I can't. You know, I had to stop reading the transcript when I was looking. I was like, I got to stop. I can't read this.